Okay, before we begin tonight's episode of Doctor Who Gives a Fuck, I have to record this little pre show disclaimer. This is going to be a sonically challenged episode. Firstly, because Sean's computer went tits up and he actually Skyped in on his phone. His sound wasn't really affected that much at all. However, I had not discovered until after we were all done that my snowball microphone was not plugged in to Skype, even though the little red light was on the microphone itself, but all my audio was picked up by the built-in microphone on my MacBook. So it sounds like I am speaking to you from an echo chamber. So the audio quality of this podcast is going to suck even more than usual. But this is Doctor Who Gives a Fuck. And here is us discussing Flux.
Hello and welcome to Doctor Who Gives a Fuck, a drunken Doctor Who podcast for the end times. This is JB in Chicago.
And this is Sean in Austin, and I made myself a jolly good cake.
That's Chris, isn't it?
You can put it on a cracker.
The sugar toothpaste.
Now that we've completely alienated our British audiences.
Yeah, it's basically a 90s
Did we have one?
Commercial.
I don't know if we actually have one or not. I mean, honestly, I don't even listen to any British Doctor Who podcasts. Most of the podcasts that I listen to that are Doctor Who related are, strangely enough, from Australia, which they seem to have a good sense of humor about the show. Okay, well, this is going to be a bit of a challenge tonight because about an hour before we started recording, Sean's computer completely crapped out. So he's actually joining us on phone. So I was going to say we apologize for the sound quality, but this is Doctor Who Gives a Fuck. You should be used to it by now.
We're not sorry.
I'm really sorry, everybody. This also means that I'm going to have to go to the office before 9 o'clock on a Monday morning to use Zoom, which is the worst part about this, but I'm sorry if you can't hear me. By the way, if you have a podcast and you appear on other people's podcasts, you should sound good. I'm talking to you, Patton Oswalt, on My Favorite Murder. They were talking to Patton Oswalt, and he was great. He sounded like crap. He sounded like he was talking on a flip phone in a windstorm. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe there were reasons. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm derailing everything like I will very soon again, but go on, JB. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this is going to be our Flux episode. This is where we're going to have our post-mortem on...
It's Doctor Who Gives a Flux now.
It pretty much is, yeah. I've already designed the title card that's going to be placed on the website and on the socials. I'm really proud of this one. But this is going to be another instance where JB and Chris tell Sean, describe to him what went on, because Sean only watched the first episode.
Okay, all right, well, let me explain, okay? This is another issue I have to explain, because I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. This is the deal. I watched the first episode, and for reasons that I'll explain, I just didn't like it, okay? I am not, like, mentally invested in this at all. Then they announced that today would be our office Christmas party. It's going to start at 12 at the Hibachi restaurant, and then they were going to let us go early. And I'm like, wow, that means I can catch up on this. I can watch that this afternoon. I'll have free time. But what ended up happening is we got drunk at the Hibachi restaurant. Then we ended up playing pool at the bar across the street. We got more drunk. And then I came home and my computer didn't work. And here we are. So I'm doing like the crappiest podcast that I could possibly do in the last, I don't know how many years, because I just feel really bad that I haven't watched it. But you know what? I feel that maybe I saved some time because I don't care. I really don't care, guys. I watched that first one and I'm like, nope, I'm not into this. No, it's not going anywhere. And then,
well, I think you and probably about a million or so viewers felt the same way because, I mean, I'm looking at the viewing figures now. I mean, this is a UK viewing figures. We went from a 5.81 to we went as far down as 4.57 million ratings for episode 4, which strangely enough I thought was the best of the lot. And then the final episode clocked in at 4.64 million viewers, at least in the UK.
That's pretty sad for a finale.
Yes. These are like the lowest ratings Doctor Who has gotten since Sylvester McCoy.
There's a lot of argument that it's not wholly because people aren't watching it or they hate it now or whatever, but there is an argument that a lot of it's, people watching on devices after the initial air and shit, which is what I do. I pirate it basically. And I think there's definitely some truth to it that there's a lot of people have lost interest, but I think it's a little exaggerated how bad the ratings are because of the technical aspects and stuff, and maybe not. I don't know. I'm somewhat talking out my ass, and
I think it's also like how the viewing habits have changed. A lot, because a lot of people, they don't watch it at the airing, and there's so much that's out there right now that, I mean, if you would get like a 6-point rating, they would consider that good. Considering all the stuff that's there for you to choose to watch. Yeah, a lot of this, I would be kind of deceptive, but I mean, I think a lot of people, myself included, have gotten to the point where it's just, I really don't care. I really don't care. It's kind of like the opposite of Moffat. It's different from Moffat era Who, because Moffat era Who, I still cared about the show and I got really angry about the show.
Yes, I agree.
If I still cared about the show, I would be just as angry. But I just really can't work myself up in the lather anymore about this show. I mean, it's given me plenty of reasons to, which we'll get into tonight. I take it, Chris, that you actually liked what happened these last 6 weeks.
I did. I am actually of the opinion that this season was Chibnall's best work.
Okay.
I don't want to go so, I would put this, well, for a lot of other reasons too, but as far as my feelings towards it, I would put this kind of in the 7th Doctor era kind of rating because it's not my favorite. And it's a little weird, and it can be off-putting at times, but overall I like it.
Okay.
And whereas the preceding 2 seasons were very disappointing to me, this one, like I said, I'm not going to say it doesn't have its problems and shit, but I actually enjoyed watching it, and I found myself once again getting to the point where I was looking forward to the next episode dropping. And it's been prior to this, for the last couple years, it wasn't unusual for me to completely forget that a new episode had dropped. And it'd drop on the weekend, and then Thursday rolls around, I'm like, oh fuck, there's a new episode I need to watch. But this one, I was actually I was actually checking the computer to see if I could get it yet.
I mean, I did too. I mean, I had nothing else to do on a Sunday night, so Yeah, I downloaded the episodes when they were available, but I was able to get my girlfriend Darlene. I was able to get her to maybe watch the first 20 minutes of episode 1, and she's just like, you know what, I'm out. I don't care. I just really don't care. I was just really confused throughout most of this season. I think Chibnall really bit off way more than he could chew. He just introduced all these characters and situations. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I guess the best thing to do is I've actually got the synopses of the episodes up on Wikipedia. I'm just going to kind of go glance through this here to sort of just to remember what the hell happened, and B, to let Sean know what happened.
Okay. All right.
So so episode 1, the Halloween apocalypse. Okay. The Doctor and Yaz pursue Carvanista, who is basically Ralph the dog, done very horribly.
Oh my God. Wait, can we talk about that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. This is just to quote Roger Ebert. Well, he said this about a snowman, but to see the dog is to hate the dog. If you were watching this and you first saw that dog creature, and not a little single bit of you said, "Oh, that doesn't look that good," you are done. You are gone. We're never going to change your minds, and you're going to think that we're fucking evil because it looked terrible. And nobody tapped anybody on the shoulder to say either A, that looks terrible, or B, this looks too much like Chewbacca. You got to change this around. You know?
Yes.
And Chewbacca doesn't look terrible, but there's something about a little puppy dog's face on like a samurai warrior that just doesn't work. And I don't know if they were going for, hey, look at this, look what we did, or hey, it's kind of cute. It didn't work. It just rubbed me. It was like an uncanny valley thing.
Yeah,
I think there was meant to be some juxtaposition there.
I think they were trying to be. It basically turned up. It basically turned into like a poor man's Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh man.
Yeah, I would agree with that because that looks good. Guardians of the Galaxy, and I don't have very many good things to say about Marvel movies. But yeah, I guess
I know we're all cat people here, but being mean.
Hey, you know what? I didn't think the cat nuns looked that cool either.
It was
just saying.
They look better than this.
The costume admittedly wasn't great, but I think they were going for some juxtaposition there. Like you said, it's like, cute puppy dog ninja warrior kind of thing. It's like, yeah, it was supposed to be incongruous, I hope.
Yeah, but later on, they really fucking played up the poor puppy dog thing, as we will get to later on, which...
Yeah, you're in for a shock, Sean.
Oh, dear God.
All right,
Dear
okay.
God. Yeah, you're not going to believe this shit. Okay, so the Doctor and Yaz pursue this puppy dog of the Lupari species to Liverpool, where he kidnaps Dan Lewis, Dan the Man, who is... he's got a home, but he's basically poor, and he goes into the museum and he pretends to be a tour guide, and he's hitting up on Diane. Up until the last episode, they didn't even mention the fact that she's got like a gimp arm, and I thought, okay, they're actually treating her as like they're not even addressing it, but then they address it at the last episode, and I'll get to that later. So the Doctor experiences a psychic vision of a mysterious swarm who claims to share a history with her, escaping from his imprisonment by the Time Lord Division.
Oh, I hate this. I hate just if I had. I hate this. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Before leaving Liverpool, the Doctor and Yaz meet Claire, a woman from their future, who I swear to God, I almost think that this should have been Clara, because the woman looked a lot like Jenna Coleman, and she might as well have been Clara Oswald for what went
and
on.
There was all kinds of fan jazz about her being one of the innumerable Clara offshoots. Like that was the going fan theory. And there were very few debating to the contrary that it wasn't some kind of Clara analog.
Which honestly may have made the story a little better. A little better.
I don't want her back. I agree with the sentiment, but I am so I never fucking liked Clara. And no, I don't want her back. Even if it makes a shit story more interesting, I want her gone. Stay gone.
But it's just interesting that they cast a woman who looks a lot like her, and they gave her a very similar name for her character. And then we also have what's his name, Vendor Lou, who's stationed on he's on a space station called Rose, and it's just like you're just kind of yanking our chains there, Chibnall.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're a fan of Indian food, because it sounds like vindaloo.
Yes,
type of Indian cuisine.
For like the first two episodes, I seriously thought they were calling him Vindaloo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so the guy's he's a curry? What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it should have been like Dave Lister for all, you know.
He looked a lot like Dave Lister too.
Exactly. Okay, so shortly after, a weeping angel sends Claire to 1965. Meanwhile, on Carvanista's ship, Yaz rescues Dan while the Doctor confronts Carvanista over his connection to the division before addressing the Lupari's apparent invasion plan. However, the dog tells them that they are actually saving humanity from Earth's destruction by the Flux. Yeah. Which is an unknown, all-consuming phenomenon that defies all laws of space and time. The Flux...
Oh, what doesn't these days?
Exactly. You know. Yeah. The Flux causes Vinder, a sole occupant of the remote space outpost, to evacuate his bowels. No. And catches the attention of the Sontarans. Following another psychic interaction between the Doctor and Swarm, Flux accelerates its attack on Earth. The Doctor has Carvanista form a defensive shield with the other. So this whole thing about each member of this dog race is like a guardian angel to an Earthling. So there's like seven. There's like,
called it a species bond.
A species bond, yeah. Okay, so like man's best friend, blah blah, fucking blah.
Oh.
Yeah, I say that. You know what happens? I mean, what happens if Dan would have died? I mean, and this guy would have been shit out of luck. Then it's like, okay, well, my human's done. So I guess,
Wait, hold on. This is the thing.
I guess I'll just fuck off then.
This is the thing, though. Why aren't all the dogs going to Earth at the same time to save their respective humans? It's just him that.
No, he got there early.
Oh, okay.
The other ones do show up.
Okay, you explain.
Although you never see them on.
No, you never see this on screen. No, you never see the rest of them on screen, and that also plays into like the last episode. So okay, blah 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 blah. So they form a shield that's supposed to protect them from the Flux, which is supposed to be this all-consuming fire. They never explain how all these ships surrounding the Earth protect them from this, basically like antimatter wave.
They do. They did offer an explanation, although it was a pretty kind of hand wavy. Their ships are capable of antimatter shielding.
Of course.
And they link all the ships together, like literally together, in a shield around the planet.
Yeah. So there's they cut themselves off from the sun. Meanwhile, I mean, the sun's being consumed. All the other planets, all the rest of the universe is being consumed. So I mean, Earth is fucked because everything else is pretty much done, and there's no hand wavy thing they do to kind of restore the universe. It's just they don't even address it. I mean, it's like in Legopolis when the Master released the heat death, and it wiped out like a section of the galaxy, including the planet Traken. And Nyssa took a few moments to like mourn the death of her planet. But nothing like that ever happened in this season. Not even addressed. And that's one of a series of crimes that Chris Chibnall has committed. Okay, the TARDIS gets overtaken by the Flux, and then we go to episode 2, which is War of the Sontarans. So basically, this is they kind of get into like a really fucked up version of the past where they end up in the Crimean War, and but instead of fighting the Russians, they're all fighting the Sontarans.
Because time's all bejiggered.
Yes.
Okay.
The Flux effects send Dan back to 2021 Liverpool, and Yaz ends up in a damaged temple full of dying priests. Besides, who the fuck is Joseph Williamson?
That's Curry Boy, isn't it?
No, that's Vinder. It says Joseph Williamson and Vinder. Who is Joseph Williamson?
Oh, is he the mole guy?
Oh no, he's the guy in the top hat and the sideburns from like 18 something.
Yeah, the guy digging the tunnels. That's the mole guy.
He pops in like in and out like of these episodes and just says some crazy shit, and then he pops off. It's like, what? This is like a non sequitur.
Well, it's because he's got those tunnels and he can he's kind of an accidental time traveler.
Yeah, you don't find that out till episode 5, though. I mean, meanwhile, at the time, he's just like, who the fuck are you? Why do you keep popping in like this? What is it with you? Okay, the Doctor deduces that the Sontarans slipped past the Lupan's defenses. Doesn't say how. Dan infiltrates the Sontaran shipyard. The Swarm arrives. We forgot to even mention that Swarm has a sister named Azure, who acts like Helena Bonham Carter.
Yes, she does. I actually thought it was her for a minute.
Yeah, and apparently she took human form, and she's like in the Arctic Circle with her boyfriend, and then like this probe comes in, and she's like, oh fuck, and then she turns into she turns into Azure, and then she kills her boyfriend, and none of that shit is explained. It doesn't explain why is she in human form. What is the deal with her? She's supposedly like Swarm's brother, but they act really kind of touchy-feely. Implied incest in Doctor Who. That's not like that hasn't happened before. Okay. Oh God. Shit. The Swarm arrives at the temple, reveals it to be on the planet Time. There's a planet called Time. Kills the priest and takes Yaz and Vinder hostage. The Doctor enlists who the fuck is Seacole? It's a Mary Seacole, who is like this sort of she's like a Florence Nightingale character, who thankfully did not get her memories erased by the Doctor. They gather intelligence on the Sontaran camp. Then they summon the Sontarans to negotiate a retreat, only to be arrested by General Logan. He's the guy who's like leading the army here. They later fight a disastrous battle with them. Doctor regroups with Seacole and Logan's men. They disrupt the Sontaran supplies. Blah blah blah. The Sontarans discover Dan, but his dog, his faithful dog friend Chewbacca, rescues him right before destroying the shipyard, which resets the timeline. They destroy the shipyard and they reset the timeline. Manages to recover the TARDIS and collect Dan, but is hijacked and brought to the temple, where they are forced to watch a Swarm is about to kill Yaz and Vinder. And that gives us to episode 3, where the Doctor jumps into the temporal time star and installs a Swarm by hiding Dan, Yaz, and Vinder into their past, albeit with many details changed. So Vinder basically relives the time that he got demoted because he ratted on his boss, who is called the Grand Serpent, who is this skinny sort of grandma talking type guy, who I actually thought that was Swarm, because I honestly thought that he ended up being Swarm. Yes.
Question. Yes. Are you still on episode 2?
No, we've moved on to episode 3 now.
Oh, okay. All right. Heavens, I thought by now you would be on episode 5, but okay.
No, this is only on episode 3. So apparently the Grand Serpent did something bad, and Vinder ratted him out, but it's like, okay, no, actually, we're going to demote you now because, reasons. So now we get a new character that gets introduced. Her name is Belle.
Oh, wow.
And she's basically, I'm going to call her like Rose Tico because that's basically what she is. She's this sort of Asian girl who is basically Vinder's baby mama because they got married, they had a honeymoon, but then he got stationed off, and meanwhile she survived the Flux, and she's traveling in a stolen Lupari ship, and she's trying to evade the Daleks are in this, and the Cybermen and the Santarans, and it turns out that she like I said, she's baby mama. She got knocked up. Her how did I phrase it? It was some really fucking Wade Shibnall that wrote it, which is like really stupid. Your as yet unborn child. So there was a lot of fucking speculation that Vinder and Belle are the Doctor's parents.
I bought into that too. I thought that's where they were going with that.
Well, they may still go with that because they haven't really.
It could.
They dropped that, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if they picked that up.
And it could be it should be mentioned that we're talking about them being her biological parents, because the distinction will be important later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so meanwhile, the Doctor is jumping into her own time stream, and she recovers memories of her past incarnation as the Ruth Doctor. And apparently, Carvanista, the dog man, was one of her fellow associates in the Division. And they had tackled with Swarm and Azure. There's lots of timey-wimey shit kind of happens.
There's a scene where she kind of relives the battle that the Doctor had with them initially, way back in the way back.
Yeah.
And she's kind of flashing back and forth between the two of them. So it's an important distinction would be made now that if it wasn't confirmed before, it is now officially confirmed. The Ruth Doctor is a pre-Hartnell Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's definitely canon now. I don't think there's any room to question it.
No, there's not. They return. Doctor returns Yaz, Dan, and Vinder to the present. Fixes the time streams. She returns Vinder to his Flux-ravaged home planet, after which a weeping angel intercepts the TARDIS, and then we move on to episode 4. So the angels have the phone box.
Mm-hmm.
So the TARDIS expels the angel, and they end up in a village, an English village in 1967, where they meet Professor Jericho, who is conducting psychic experiments on Claire. So think of the episode Hyde, where we had the psychic hooked up to all machines. It's basically the same setup. So Angel gets hold of Yaz and Dan, and they send them back to 1901, where they find this missing girl. Blah, blah, blah. Claire reveals herself to be an angel. And basically, the angels are They are agents of the Division. And they end up recalling the Doctor. And at the end of episode 4, the Doctor turns into a weeping angel.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I knew you were going to shit on that one. I was just waiting for it.
So they're agents of the Division? How
Yes.
can they be agents of anybody? Because they don't even talk.
Well, they do in this story. They can't shut up.
Oh my God.
Well, most of the talking initially is through Claire. Okay. And it's through the psychic link with Claire. And most of the talking later is them talking to the Doctor after she's been quantum locked as an angel.
Okay.
Which is, obviously why she's now able to communicate with them, but...
Okay, I can deal with that. Okay, I thought that they would actually talk normal talk.
No, they weren't just walking up and, hey, what's up, man?
No. Yeah. All right. I'm okay. Then what happens?
Okay, so that was the cliffhanger in episode 4, or out of episode 4. So episode 5, Weeping Angels transport the Doctor to the division, where she meets this old woman who turns out to be Tecturn, who is the woman who discovered the Timeless Child at the Gateway and discovered that she can regenerate and did all that shit to her and everything. She reveals what the division is, their knowledge of the multiverse.
Jesus Christ.
And they're orchestrating the Flux. So basically, the whole thing about the Flux, the reason why this Flux was released was to kill the Doctor for interfering with the division's plans. So we're going to fucking wipe out everything just so we can kill you. I mean, that's overkill much. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, no. It makes sense in the right context, because they in the course of the story reveal that there's this big multiverse, and the division has its hands in all those pies. They're trying to steer all these different universes in different directions and shit. She describes the Doctor as like a virus in the system, that she got out into this universe and just fucked everything up for them. So they're like, fuck it, we're just gonna abandon this universe and we're gonna delete the hard drive. And I mean it's no more sketchy than any other Doctor Who end of the fucking universe plot, okay?
Now, this reminds me of something, but I'll wait until you're done with the synopsis.
TARDIS, Moffat blew up the whole goddamn universe by blowing up the TARDIS, and then explained off why the TARDIS was fucking blown up in a fucking one sentence 2 seasons later. This isn't a new fault in Doctor Who.
I'm just saying that there's easier ways to kill the Doctor than to wipe out the entire. I mean, if you just want to kill the Doctor, I mean, Sylvester McCoy got shot by a bunch of Asian gang members there.
It wasn't.
And who? Asian gang members. They can't shoot anybody, but they can shoot the Doctor, I guess.
Yeah.
But the whole point wasn't solely to destroy the Doctor. It was it's like they had a bunch of batches of beer brewing, and this batch was bad. Fuck, dump that one out before it contaminates the other ones. Killing off the Doctor was a part of that, but I think it was also like, let's just get rid of this botched fucking universe.
Okay, whatever. Okay, so meanwhile. Okay, this is where it gets really fucking confusing, and this is where Sean.
This is where it gets confusing.
This is where Sean, I think, is going to start to get pissed off here. So this Grand Serpent guy is basically ends up sometime in the 1950s, and somehow this guy was responsible for organizing UNIT.
All right. How?
He basically. I want to say inseminated himself, but basically there's a bit where he's like playing golf with this guy who obviously wants to like fuck him, this British officer, and so he basically comes up with the idea of a task force to take care of alien threats, and there's actually a point where so the TARDIS got damaged, and somehow the TARDIS ends up in UNIT headquarters in like the 1960s. Okay, so all that time that John Pertwee's Doctor was stranded, there was a TARDIS there. There's a fully functional TARDIS that was right fucking there, and he never knew about it.
All right, yeah. I like that you mentioned John Pertwee. That's the best thing you've done so far.
Yeah. So basically, he's done this so that he can later on he deactivates all UNIT defenses. Allowing the Sartarans to enter Earth. And meanwhile, Kate Stewart, who is completely fucking wasted in this season.
Agreed.
She walks into his office and is like, I know who you are. I know what you're up to.
Wait, I have questions.
Yes.
So UNIT started in the 1960s.
Yes.
1960s.
Yes.
Kate Stewart is the Brigadier's daughter, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't she have been like a little girl or something?
Yeah, but this is like, I mean, they keep jumping like from like year to year to year, and then we get to present time. And Kate Stewart says, "Okay, I know I know what you're up to. I'm going to stop you." And then what does she do? She fucking goes home.
So she was just like, oh, Kate Stewart is in this. Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. So she goes home, and then they try to kill her at her home. And so she has to go dark. So she calls up Osgood. It's like, I'm going dark. And then she smashes up her cell phone. So meanwhile, so the Sontarans have invaded Earth. Meanwhile, Vinderloo discovers that Swarm. Okay, so basically they got this Swarm in Azure, have this guy called Passenger, who's basically sort of an empty shell. He's got a mask on, and I swear they actually ordered this mask online, because you can actually order this mask online. It's available. And basically, this Passenger guy he basically sucks up everyone inside him.
Yeah, it's capable of holding infinite mass.
Yes. So I think he gets sucked up, and then he ends up meeting Diane, who's Dan's sort of girlfriend, but not really. Okay.
I think wannabe girlfriend would be.
Wannabe girlfriend, yeah.
Okay, real quick before you go on.
Yeah.
I want to point out something that of all the nonsense, this is one of the things that irks me. The Passenger. Why in the fuck is it called the Passenger when it's the one that carries all the shit? Like, literally all the fucking things are in the Passenger.
Because Chris Shipman is a shitty writer, that's why.
Just the name makes no sense. It's like
it should be the vessel. It should be the
vessel or the carrier or fucking Melania full of jizz or fucking I don't know fucking something.
Full of jizz. I have much jizz in me. Be best.
Oh god. Oh my god. Okay. So meanwhile, Tech Turn has this fob watch, which contains all of the Doctor's memories from her from pre-Hartnell.
All her division memories.
All her division memories.
Okay, that makes sense, actually. Okay.
And I think she opens it up, and the Doctor sees this fucked up house.
Okay.
And this is where all the New Adventure fans went apeshit, because it's like, that's Long Barrel!
I thought the same fucking thing. I thought they were going that route. They didn't, though.
No, they cock tease you there, Chris.
Yeah, they did. They did. And I'll go more into it later, but this whole season was a New Adventures cock tease. It totally was.
I was going to say the same thing. It sounds like this is a new adventure.
It's straight. It's a straight up Dave Stone fucking Virgin New Adventure.
Yeah, this is what this is. And I've never liked them. Apparently, Chris Chibnall was one of the many people who did. That's exactly what this sounds like. I would steal the words out of my mouth, Chris.
Yeah.
It's a lot of abstract crazy shit.
Yeah, I hate that. But yeah, keep on going, JB.
So Tech Turn's basically tormenting the Doctor with, I've got this fob watch, it's got all your secrets, blah blah blah. Do you want And so, but then Swarm and Azure arrive, and they touch Tech Turn, and she dissolves. She's dead. And they're about to touch the Doctor, and then the Doctor does something, I don't know, stupid or clever, I don't know. Somehow the Doctor is able to not only avoid getting disintegrated, but she basically splits herself into 3 distinct copies of herself along 3 different parts of the space-time continuum.
Oh, this doesn't sound like it could be confusing at all.
Oh no! Oh God, no! So one of the Jodies is with Yaz and Dan and everyone. One of them is with Vinder, blah blah blah, and one of them is still with
the prisoner of the
swarm. Yeah. Okay, so they're in these tunnels. They finally explain what these tunnels are that are underneath Liverpool. Somehow Kate Stewart shows up for no reason at all. And then Claire and Jericho invade the Sontarans. Jericho gets killed, and no one really mourns him at all.
They tagged him for that, very, how it's kind of a trope of Doctor Who that there's always a sacrifice. And I mean, he was tagged from like his first appearance in the show. It's like that's it. He's the guy that's gonna die.
Yeah.
There's always one of the peripheral characters is gonna like be sacrificed. And
Okay.
yep. Sure
Okay.
shit.
Okay. So there's one point I wanted to make about back to where the doctor was talking to Tectune. Tectune. So the doctor gets really indignant about how, you basically fucked up my life. You stole my childhood. You stole my memories. And I'm thinking, okay, well, shit, you stole memory. You've stolen plenty of memories, doctor. You stole the memories of those two women on during Spyfall. You fucked up Donna Noble's life.
Donna, I'm still mad at her for Donna.
So shit, pot meet kettle, for fuck's sake. So the Santarans basically they're taking advantage of the Flux and they're going to take over, and they form an alliance with the Daleks and the Cybermen, but really they're going to fuck them over. And then like Yaz is like, okay, well, what are we going to do? Do we need to warn the Daleks and the Cybermen? And the doctor's like, shit, no, we're going to wipe out all three races here. We're going to commit mass genocide 3 times over. Oh. And she does.
No, well, okay, all right.
The Centaurans, the Daleks,
objection.
Are destroyed. Okay.
Objection. The Doctor does not kill the Cybermen and the Daleks. The Centaurans did that. The only one that she's technically guilty of genocide is the Centaurans. She did that.
Okay.
The death of the Centaurans and the Daleks was completely a Centauran plan, and they executed it. If anything, she's just guilty of letting them do it, which you could debate whether she was capable of stopping it or not. But, yeah.
Okay. So this ends up, so basically, let's see, the 2 copies rescue Vinder and Diane, reformed the Lupara shield behind the Centaur. Okay, so meanwhile, so all those dogs, all those 7 million dogs that we mentioned earlier.
They did.
They all get wiped out off screen. And so our friend Ralph the dog is the only one that's left.
Okay, of course he is.
They weren't wiped out. They were taken to your cousin's farm out in the country.
So Swarm basically taunts him with this information. And so we get the point where Ralph the dog, he's in his cage. He finds out that all of his dog friends have all died, and he starts howling.
Oh my god.
Well,
yeah.
What the hell's a dog supposed to do?
I was fucking laughing. I busted the gut laughing when that happened. And then there's a point where, so basically this dog, so Ralph the dog remembers the doctor when she was working for the division. And he can tell her, he could tell her all of her, all of what happened, but he can't because he got injected with this chemical that would, like, if he were to tell her this, then he would just, like, have an aneurysm or some fucking bullshit like that.
Which, yeah, I can't understand if they were that concerned about him running his mouth, why they didn't just fucking kill him. Doesn't make any sense to me, but...
No. So this all ends up where, so basically Swarm and Azure they travel, blah, 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 blah. They bring the first, so they bring the doctor, one of the doctors, to sacrifice her to Time. So Time was first a planet, and now it's an entity. Time is an entity. They're going to sacrifice the doctor to Time. But instead, Time destroys the Swarm and Azure, and then but Time takes on the form of the Doctor, and
in the Doctor in a very sexy black coat. By the way.
Right, and and there's a point where like 2 of the Doctors are in the same room, and of course she's fucking flirting with herself because that's what you do in modern Doctor Who.
I mean, who wouldn't know?
Okay. Time tells the doctor that her time is running out soon. So this is basically like, you know, he will knock 4 times. Your song is ending. Blah, blah, blah. You know? And she's like, no, it can't be. No. No.
And so, again, the anthropomorphized time telling the doctor that her time is up is, again, straight out of Virgin New Adventures.
Okay.
That shit has all been done.
Okay. And
at the end of Lung Barrow, as a matter of fact, the doctor runs into the avatar of time or whatever, who's this lady that you always see, and she's always got roses or something. The lady with roses, they call her, or something like that. And it's almost the exact same scene. He like walks off from Ace and the other companions present in the adventure and talks to this lady, and they're like, who the fuck is that? And if you follow some of the hints dropped in previous novels and shit, you realize that it's quote unquote time herself. And she basically tells the doctor, yeah, you've got one adventure left and you're out. So yeah, this is not at all a new development.
Things are back to normal. We don't really get an explanation how. Dan tries to ask his friend Diane for a date, and she says no. And, you know, maybe he shouldn't have asked for that hand job earlier. I don't know. Because she's left-handed. God
damn it.
So the doctor invites Dan to join her and Yaz. And then her and Yaz have a moment together. It's like, I'm sorry, I kept things from you. You know, there's things about my past that I still don't know. She ends up with the stopwatch. And, you know, she's like for a moment considering whether or not she wants to open it and regain all her memories. But she's like, no, I'm not going to. I'm just going to drop this into the TARDIS console. And she tells the TARDIS to just hide this and don't tell her where it is unless she absolutely needs to know. This is Chibnall's way of basically leaving this open-ended. And yeah. I don't think we're going to hear anything else about this Timeless Child.
Yeah, RTD, if you want to pick this shit up, it's there for you.
But he's given an out. I think he's been given an out.
I think for Sean's benefit, we should also mention something. You still there, Sean?
Yeah, I'm still here. I mean, I'm in and out, actually.
The little scene with the Doctor and Yaz reconciling, they validated all the fucking shippers.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Yes, they did.
Not.
There was totally threw a. Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah, they threw them a bone, but that's
they
all
threw them a bone because there was definitely a moment there where you're like, oh fuck, they're gonna kiss, aren't they? Like there was definitely some very intentional romantic overtones to that scene. I mean, they like you said, I shouldn't say the shippers were validated. They weren't, but yeah, as you said, they were thrown a very big bone, or lady bone, I guess. But whatever, there's definitely a little more than a friend thing going on with Yaz, or at least the potential for such, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, which is strange because she spent like 80% of this whole story away from the Doctor anyway.
Yeah, Yaz was fucking useless in this whole season. Like she didn't. She didn't do anything. I mean, well, it's not that she didn't do anything, but she was always just kind of present.
Oh my God! Okay. We forgot to. Okay. So there's this one point where they're stuck in 19 or something, and they're going like on this Indiana Jones sort of adventure. They're like recovering these things and whatever, and then at some point they end up at a stereotypical top of a mountain to meet this guru.
Oh, I love this part.
Oh my God, this fucking guru. And it's basically the guy who was from the frozen Indian food commercials featuring John Pertwee. He was that stereotypically racist.
Okay.
And basically, it's like, what do we do? And this guy says, fetch your dog.
Call your dog. Or no, did he
No,
say?
they said, fetch your dog.
Fetch your dog. You're right. Yeah.
So they go to the fucking Great Wall of China.
If there's
And
going to be a Chinese food joke in this, I'm out.
no.
No, there's
They
not.
go to the Great Wall of China and they write this big message saying, "Hey, Carvanista, we're here. Come pick us up." And then Carvanista sees the message. It's like, "I don't have a time traveling ability, you fucking."
I don't have fucking time travel, you knob.
This whole thing. I mean, that whole subplot was just went fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it did.
So I don't know. This was just a complete mess. I did not enjoy watching it. I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't follow it. I kind of see what he was trying to do, but I think he failed miserably. The sound mix was absolutely horrible because there was like a lot of this was really like distorted and like the sound mix was too loud, and it reminded me a lot of late era Sylvester McCoy. It was very confusing and the sound mix was horrible. I think he failed. I think Chibnall absolutely failed, and I think, Chris, you even said this to me via text. Jodie needs to go because I'm sorry. She just can't carry the series.
I didn't say she needs to go, but I don't necessarily disagree with that sentiment. But her acting was fucking horrible in this whole. I could bitch about her acting a lot. And the thing is, I've seen her in other shit, and she's not a bad actor. She's actually a very good actor, but I just don't think she gets how to play the Doctor, and she just goes for the fucking quirky and spastic kind of side to it, because every time she's fucking talking to anybody, she's doing like the 3/4 turn, and she's almost in a karate stance, and she's like waving her fucking hands, and she's talking really fucking fast and excitedly, and it's like, okay, I get that. That's kind of your shtick, and all the doctors have their shtick. Fucking Tom Baker would deliver shit deadpan, and fucking, Sylvester McCoy would be all sinister with shit. But, everyone has their shtick, but you don't do it in every single fucking scene. There are times when it's appropriate to be the excitable, hand-wavy doctor. Not every goddamn scene. Like, it got really fucking annoying.
She definitely needs to take some sort of medication. I'll tell you that much. I'm talking about the doctor, not Jodie. Yeah, I just feel as if there's some sort of, I don't know I forget what it's called, like ADHD. I don't know. What's the one that you're absolutely hyper all the time? Is it Xanax? I don't know. But you're right, Chris. I agree with this, and I part of me wants to think, okay, maybe she should hang on, and we can have RTD work with her. But no, maybe if she was only on for one season, but no, she's lost it. You lose.
She's gone. They've filmed her final scenes and dismantled her TARDIS. She's gone. She is definitely not going to be around. And they've already shot her regeneration scene.
You are so sexist, Chris. That is so gross. I'm never talking to you again.
No, but okay. Can I say a few positive things about this?
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Chris.
I actually enjoyed this. I don't disagree with a lot of your issues with it. They're very real. There were too many fucking B plots going on, and in the end, sadly, most of them turned out to be completely superfluous. Like, I get the Vendor and Bell thing, okay? And that might yet have some kind of payoff. Like, maybe they are the Doctor's biological parents or whatever. But at the very least, they seem to feel compelled in the new series to always have some kind of romantic subplot going on. And unfortunately, for the most part, it's been between the Doctor and a companion, which I don't like. That's an aspect of modern Doctor Who I really don't fucking appreciate. But at least I'm giving credit to Chibnall. He satisfied all the fucking shippers out there, but he didn't fucking involve the Doctor in it, at least not directly. Again, maybe they're her parents, maybe they're not. But he had it there for those people, but it was separate. So And everybody it says that, well, you didn't do anything with Vinder and Bell. It's like, well, yeah, you did. That was your romantic subplot. It's present in everything in modern shows. It was just there to put a little emotion.
Oh, okay. And then the part. Okay, so the Grand Serpent. I don't even know why the fuck this guy. I mean, basically, his only function was to basically form unit, then dismantle unit so the Sartarans can invade. And so Vinder gets his revenge. They basically take him through one of the doors that's in the mine underneath Liverpool, and they strand him on an asteroid, which I swear to God, it's just basically like 4 feet by 4 feet asteroid out in space.
I agree with you. The whole thing with him with Unit made no fucking sense. It's like that whole plot just made no fucking sense. It was completely fucking unnecessary to involve I don't even know what he was trying to do, because he didn't really solve like the whole dating controversy or anything like that.
He made it worse. He made it fucking worse.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody was out there clamoring for an explanation for why Unit exists. It's like, well, that's pretty straightforward. It's like the Doctor comes along and there's all these alien incursions. So, wow, the government decided to get a secret fucking thing going to deal with that. That's not real surprising.
I think the thing that really throws me off about this is just basically I can't look at Doctor Who the same anymore, because basically the whole thing about Doctor Who is that they had a mysterious past, but it was the Doctor's secret. The Doctor was the one who was actively hiding from his past. And that's all changed now, because basically the Doctor doesn't know his past.
Well, it has, but here's the thing. I mean, forever the Doctor's past has been shrouded in mystery, and this, in one hand, kind of explains some of that history, but thankfully at the same time, it also opens up a broader mystery to explore. It's like, okay, now we know apparently the Doctor was more or less the first Time Lord and is responsible for them having regeneration and shit. And there's this big chunk of her life that she doesn't know. So there's that. There's that to explore. And then there's the fact that, okay, the Doctor is from a completely different universe, we now know. But we don't know how she got to this universe or why or what the fuck. I mean, potentially, we talk about, she might have had hundreds of lives before she was Hartnell. Well, how many lives did she live before she even got to this fucking universe? So there's that. And the whole season kind of goes back again to the 7th Doctor era and the whole fucking Cartmel master plan that the Doctor's more or less a god. I mean, they kind of embraced that in this season. I mean, not literally a god per se, but, obviously she had the power to completely fucking alter the course of a universe that was designed to go a totally different direction. So,
yeah, I think this changed to me. Changes her from being an active character to a more passive character. Basically,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
and it sucks because it's a woman Doctor. I remember the second episode she was in, the Ghost Monument, where they think they lost the TARDIS, and she basically fucking gives up. It's like, okay, there's nothing we can do. And I never really bought that. I didn't really like that, because it's like, that's not like the Doctor. She's playing the victim here, and she's kind of playing the victim here.
Now the whole thing of the Doctor being a pawn of greater powers is not a new thing at all. And as it just so happens, just out of pure whim, I started rewatching Destiny of the Daleks earlier this week. And like the very first scene of that in episode 1, there's the scene with the 4th Doctor and he meets the Time Lord where they explain to him the whole thing. We want you to go back and, destroy or significantly alter the Daleks. And there's this scene in there where he's like, I'm tired of you fucking guys manipulating me. just leave me be. And he's like, oh, well, you understand the arrangement. We let you go do your fucking bullshit. But every now and then, very occasionally, we're going to ask for a favor. So and it was very much the same as you're talking, even in that scene, only it was with Tom Baker. And they were like, yeah, you're a bitch, basically.
Yeah, but that was actually a setup to an actual story. I don't think there was an actual story at all. I mean, what is the plot of this story?
Fair.
What was the whole point of Flux?
I am reserving some judgment on Flux. I said I was going to say some positive shit about it. I really haven't said that much positive, to be fair. Okay, one thing I want to give this credit to, and I hope you guys can at least agree on this. I thought this season was visually fucking stunning. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It was very fucking pretty to look at. There was all kinds of really cool fucking sets and outfits and blah blah blah. Okay, Ralph the dog was pretty fucking cheesy, but he's not the first cheesy fucking monster in Doctor Who by any stretch of the imagination. But other than that, just the settings were, gone are the days that we're just going to shoot the shit in a quarry. They went full hog on that shit. But there were lots of cliffhangers. There were lots of questions. Several of them were not resolved satisfactorily, to be fair. But I don't think Chibnall's a shitty writer. I'm not going to try and gloss that over. But I think he was really trying his ass off on this one. Part of it's got to be, the guy got, what was it, a 12-episode season cut down to 8. So I'm going to offer that as at least some explanation to why some of the stories are a bit cut off or shortened or almost inexplicable. I think he should have cut more than he did. Like the Clara thing could have been pared down significantly. The fucking the B plot with fucking Danny's girlfriend just kind of was boring to begin with and never really went anywhere. I don't know why they didn't. If I was writing it, I'd have just, let's get rid of that. But I feel like this season was more abstract than your average viewer is used to. I'm more used to it because I've read all the Virgin New Adventures and I liked those. And that's I like the abstract, embrace the timey-wimey. Like, they don't really put a big effort into explaining everything because the whole point is supposed to be, well, this is the Doctor is alien. The Doctor's way smarter than you and you're not going to fucking understand everything. And they kind of ran with that and I get it that's not probably a popular thing. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I'm okay with shit being unresolved. That said, though, I don't like the way everything was resolved. I don't like that the universe is basically destroyed.
Yeah, everything that you just said, Chris, makes me not want to watch it more.
Really?
I agree with you about the New Adventures thing. This sounds terrible to me. This sounds incomprehensible. This sounds like, once again, it's the show talking over your head, but you talk to real fans of the show and they're like, well, you just don't understand. No, and I'm like, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. This isn't making any sense. I feel like Kathy Bates in Misery. Have you all got amnesia? This doesn't make any cockamamie sense. You know what? I'm also going to agree with you about how it looks. It looks fantastic. It's never looked better. I'm going to sound like a grumpy old man here. I'm going to make a suggestion. I think, and I really do think that most Doctor Who fans have not seen the complete series. I truly think that. When I say the complete series, I mean the classic series. Sorry.
Yeah, they haven't seen all the episodes. They haven't been watching since 1963 and actually seen all the episodes that are currently missing. I think most of them are dead.
Yeah, there's this multiverse where I'm hoping that they're taking all this money and all this that they put into this project and they remake some of the old stuff that would look so much cooler if it was done using, the Green Death.
Yeah.
That's where I am right now. After I heard the synopsis from you, JB, it's like if Chibnall was going to go on for another season, I'm done. I'd be where Steve is, where I'd be like, I just, what you just said, I couldn't wrap my mind around. And I don't think it was because you were telling it badly, but you're going on, and then we meet the passenger, and then we meet this person, and then one of the best series in TV history is a show called Breaking Bad, a show that I had no desire to watch when I first saw it. But you know what's cool about that? Is that series has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it reaches that point with just maybe 6 base characters. Maybe you'd have someone come along and maybe he'd die a little bit later, and but 6 base characters. And they told an excellent story. And I don't even think it was 6. I think it was maybe 4. Why can't anybody tell a story like that anymore? It's a story. It's said that, I had time earlier this week to sit down and watch Doctor Who, but I was more compelled to watch my trashy horror novel that I'm reading right now about Helltown, Ohio, instead of watching Doctor Who. Once upon a time, I would wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I'd be like, well, I'm going to get some fast food. 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to get some fast food. I'm going to watch Doctor Who on my computer, and I'd be thrilled. And maybe I'm just getting old. But this is it. This is it.
Yeah, this is a sad thing. Okay. The New Year's Day special that's coming up. Sean, do you know anything about it?
No. Is this the 13th Doctor's last...
Yeah, this is going to be basically Judy has 3 episodes left. She's going to have a New Year's Day special, she's going to have an Easter special, and then they're going to be the BBC Centenary special, where that's going to be the last episode. So the New Year's Day episode has Daleks.
Fuck, of course it does.
And
because it's part of a trilogy.
And it takes place.
And we just killed off the Daleks.
Yeah, we just killed them off, but they're fucking coming back. And it takes place in a you store it place, and it's got like this couple who like will they, won't they, and like the Daleks are invading. And they get stuck in a time loop where they get killed over and over and over again.
Let's call it what it is. It's a Groundhog Day episode.
Yes. And I am seriously considering saying, fuck this, because I've had it. I've absolutely had it with this. And I don't even know if I want to watch it.
Well, that sounds... Excuse me. That sounds actually like something that I would be interested in watching. I don't know. I mean, I like Groundhog Day shit. Other things.
I do too. The trailer looked really cool.
No, it didn't. It just, no. I can't. No, because it's like every show does this now. Every fucking show does this now. I mean, we had TNG. We had, the episode where the Enterprise kept blowing up and Data had to figure out what it was. And we had the X-Files episode where like Mulder and Scully get shot at the bank and then they get started up again. There's been like several different iterations. I mean, Legends of Tomorrow did an episode like that.
Any season that goes on long enough is going to have a fucking time loop episode.
Any
sci-fi show.
But it just tells me that, okay, we don't need to try. We'll just throw this. We'll put the Daleks in. We'll have this couple. Will they? Won't they?
It seems kind of obvious to me that with the current run with Doctor Who, it seems like Chibnall has been like contractually obligated. It's like, yeah, part of the deal is you're going to do a New Year's special every year, and it's going to be Daleks.
Yeah,
it kind of seems like he doesn't really have much of a choice in this, and maybe he did mail it in on this one. I'm gonna let the jury. I'm gonna leave it out
I mean,
on
yeah,
that one.
we can watch it and review it on the next episode. We can do that.
I'm going to watch it.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna watch it. It's 45 minutes, and if it's bad, okay, I'll go on to the next one.
It won't be the first shitty episode of Doctor Who I've watched.
It's probably not the most shitty episode of Doctor Who. I mean, let's be honest.
No, and that's part of my critique of the whole Flux thing. It's like, I get all the critiques she gave it, and they're pretty accurate. I don't disagree with most of them, but it's there's no most of the complaints you named off are shit that have happened in the show at some point or another before as well. It's like, it's not a new issue. Like, I would equate Flux to Ghostlight. Like, the whole season was kind of like Ghostlight. Ghostlight was cut short. It was only 3 episodes long, and they tried to pack a whole bunch of shit into that story, and it was, again, very abstract and all that shit. And, like, I think I watched Ghostlight 3 or 4 times through before I finally kind of got a grasp on what even's supposed to be happening in that fucking episode. I mean, it's kind of a train wreck, but once you go through it a couple times, it actually kind of starts to piece together.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this series, I don't have time to do it right now, or I already would have done it. I want to give it another watch through. And I might come out the other end and be more on JB's line and be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to face it. This is complete shit. Because the first time I was going through it cold and, emotional investment and blah, blah, blah. And I was actually enjoying it and looking forward to the next episode. But now that I know where it's going, if I watch it through again, I might like it less. I might like it more. Maybe I watch it and I get a sense that, this didn't make sense before. But now that I go back and 2 episodes earlier, they kind of set that up. Okay, now I see it. That could happen also, but here's a key thing in all that's been missing from Doctor Who for a while, for the most part, in that I actually have an urge to rewatch the episodes. Like, there was a lot of Capaldi shit that I had no interest in seeing it again. And then, like, the whole Matt Smith era, every time you rewatch it, it's diminished for me, because it's like it was all built around, who's this mysterious woman? What's in door number 11 and blah, blah, blah. And once you know all that, like, the whole impetus to watch the fucking episode's gone. Like, that's what the whole thing was built on. If you know that it's fucking River in the astronaut suit, well, the fucking Man on the Moon episode's just kind of shit after that. It's just random crap. But this one, it's like I kind of want to study it a little bit. I want to look at it again, and maybe my opinion will change.
You kind of made my point at the same time. I was going to go. I agree with you there, and some of this stuff I really do want to rewatch it, like that River Song storyline. But I could rewatch Ghostlight again. It's an hour long total, probably a little over an hour.
I love Ghostlight,
but I don't have the time to sit down and do a post-mortem on 6, 45-minute episodes of Doctor Who. And it doesn't deserve it. I'm sorry. I don't think this deserves my time. I'd rather be doing other things, like playing video games or masturbating or sleeping or drinking. I just...
Wouldn't you rather be jerking off than anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I think I'm just too old to go through this again. I mean, if I were 30 years younger and trying to disseminate Ghostlight, and I did try to disseminate Ghostlight, and I did watch it more than once, and I still don't get it. I still think I still think it was. I mean, it was completely chopped to bits. It was horribly produced, and I just, there's so much more that's out there now than there was when I was, in the early 90s watching Sylvester McCoy's last series. I gave it a chance then because, there wasn't really much out there for me to really, curry my attention. Now there is.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Back in the day, when I was getting into Doctor Who, it was really kind of depressing for me to think that it just sort of finished, oh, it's done. That's it. There's no more after that, except for these books. And then they came out with Big Finish and all that, and then it came back, and we were all happy. And now it's like, well, folks, I just feel like stubbing out a cigarette and walking away and saying, I'm done. I'm tired of thinking about this so much. I'm tired of putting so much. I think that it's going to be it. You've crapped the bed, and I just can't. I'm sorry. I'm sounding really, really negative right now. More negative than I've ever sounded. But
it could be sad, man. At the very least, I mean, yeah, they kind of blew some shit up in this season, and the whole Chibnall era, for that matter.
Yeah, I think that most fans are like Sean, and like to a certain extent myself. It's like, we're done with the Chibnall era. Let's move on. Let's see what RTD can. Let's see if he can pull a rabbit out of his ass a second time.
Yeah.
And
it's been done. Theo Epstein pulled it off.
Who?
Baseball reference. There's a lot of pressure on RTD right now, and I feel like what he does is either going to save Doctor Who or fucking sink it, and we're going to go back in the wilderness. But that being said, he brought Doctor Who back once. I don't think it's unreasonable to think he could pull it off again.
Wait, I'm sorry. You think it's unreasonable, or you don't think it's unreasonable?
I don't think it's unreasonable.
Okay.
I think I did a double negative or something there. But
no, you said it like the first time.
But I think he can do it, is what I'm saying. I don't know that he will. Nobody does. But I think they did good in picking him to do it, because I sure couldn't think of anybody else who the expectation would be reasonable. Moffat sure the fuck couldn't pull it off. If you handed this shit to Moffat right now, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm done.
RTD, Moffat, and Chibnall. These three people love Doctor Who very much. They grew up with it just like we did. Maybe for me, a lesser extent, but I got into it. And it just makes me so sad to see, as Uncle Roger would say, to see it fucked up. If y'all know who Uncle Roger is. But I just feel, by the way, side note, you know what they're calling, according to Steve? Steve, who reads all about this on the internet, but he hasn't seen a single episode since sometime near the end of the Capaldi era. He says that they're calling it RTD2. That's what they're calling the next game, RTD2, which is very funny and clever. RTD2. It's being used in such irony right now. That video of Chibnall as a kid complaining to J&T on some show, like this nerdy little kid dressed up, and he's like all high and mighty, telling you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yes. I do.
No, I haven't seen this.
No.
Oh
yeah.
God.
Yeah, there was a BBC show called Open Air that was basically, this was around the time of Trial of the Time Lord, and they actually had John Nathan Turner and Pip and Jane Baker, and they had like some Doctor Who fans in the audience, and Chris Chibnall was one of the fans, and he basically said that this season sucked.
Yeah, this is during, I think, the Colin Baker era.
Yeah, Trial of the Time Lord.
I'd fucking watch that over, the current shit anytime, by the way.
I love Trial of the Time Lord.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, there's some things I don't like about it, like that last episode. I know what I would do. Maybe I would just remake Pertwee's era. No, not a lot of special effects, creature effects. Just put the Doctor, trapped on the land, on Earth, and just do that. No, weirdo aliens.
Get Sean to play the Doctor. No, not you, Sean. Sean Pertwee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Oh, that's something. Oh, me like the cookies.
He looks just like his dad.
And get Sadie Miller to play Sarah Jane.
Yeah, and
she's already doing her on audio.
My partner Tom, we were watching this English horror movie called Howl that had Sean Pertwee in it, and I said, by the way, this guy right here, he's the son of the third Doctor, and he's like, I don't care.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. And then 30 seconds later, he goes, oh my God, he does look just like him. I know exactly who you're talking about because he's seen pictures of him. That's how much he looks like him.
Yeah, he kind of sounds like him too.
Yeah. I sound like Tom or?
No.
Sean sounds like
Sean
John.
sounds like his father, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we used to watch Gotham, and he played Alfred in Gotham.
Sometimes you can't get it out of your head how much he looks like him. Like, it's kind of spooky. Like, you just yeah. But I don't know. I think, you know what, though? I'm going to admit that idea of a couple that is doing a Groundhog Day thing, and did you say it was in a storage area?
Yeah,
storage space?
Yeah, it's like self-storage area, yes.
And it's all set in that one location?
Yes.
Apparently, yeah.
They're not beamed up to a spaceship, and they have to run around the spaceship and do...
As far as we know. No, they're all running around the storage space.
Okay, see, I like that. I like that they're running around a storage, because it limits it. You know what I mean? And there's a couple other episodes like that. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Okay, Midnight. One of my all-time favorite episodes of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great episode.
Keep it simple, stupid. You know?
And the thing is, they didn't fucking hype up that. Then they didn't even hype up that episode. It was just going to be like, oh, this is going to be like another episode of Doctor Who and all that. And it's like, what the hell is this? This is amazing.
They even left out the companion on that, like fucking
Donna, yeah, because
Donna's in it for a minute in the beginning and a minute at the end, and that's it.
And then the Doctor's going to go on this sort of tour. He's of the planet, and it's going to be this is going to be like a fluffy light episode, and it just gets darker and darker and darker. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant.
And this scene with him and that one woman copying each other back and forth is just some of the creepiest shit ever in Doctor Who. Like that was just fucking cringy, like in a good way, like horror cringy.
Yeah, it really was. It was great, and that was RTD that wrote that.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I'll give you another example. The one I can't think of the name of the episode now. I've drunk it all away. It's the one where the 11th Doctor, Amy and Rory are in this space hotel.
God Complex.
The God Complex. Oh my fucking God. Yeah, that was kind of fucked up. But that
was a great episode too.
What's going to happen now? And then I was fucking crying at the end where the Doctor is just telling young Amelia, like, don't have faith with me. I'm a bastard.
That part I didn't like. That part, I don't care about young Amy or old Amy. I just want Amy Pond during the time that she's with the Doctor. He fucked that up too.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. I mean, this Doctor, Jodie's Doctor, I don't think learned the goddamn thing. Because she basically she was whining to Tech Turn about her stealing my memories, and there wasn't a moment. I mean, a writer. Chris Chibnall could have taken that moment and say, "Hey, wait a minute, I've done this shit too. Oh my God, I'm a fucking bitch." And
check this out.
There's no growth. There's no learning. She doesn't learn from her past mistakes and grows with it. There's no growth at all with this character. I mean, there's a moment where she's like, I can learn about my own past. I was tempted about this. I almost sacrificed everything because I wanted to know, and now that I've got this watch in my hand, never mind. We're just going to throw this thing in the TARDIS now. It's going to end up where the second Doctor's recorder was, and the three Doctors.
No, I get that though. It makes sense that she ditched that because she was obviously a very different person during her time with Division, and
like half an hour ago.
Well, the thing with that watch is if she opens it and has all those memories back, it might wash away the Doctor she has now become since then. It might overpower that, and she might just become whatever the fucking division doctor was like, which was apparently a lot colder than she is now.
That would be a much more interesting story, because that way you would have her forgotten past, fighting with her past as the doctor. And
the brilliant thing about the way he handled that is it's still preserved. It's there. They could still do that.
They're not going to do anything.
Wait.
This is going to be like the doctor being half human on his mother's side. They're going to just
wash it off. Yeah.
And we'll never hear it again.
I don't care. I don't care about the doctor's past. I don't care about the doctor's future. I just want to have the doctor to, go on a space station where there's some aliens invading, and within 45 minutes, the doctor, does it. It's a Monster of the Week show. Can we just fucking do that? Maybe just for one season? That's what I want.
I'm in. And let's not make it all Daleks and Santarans. Yeah. I'm with you.
My one of my all-time favorite episodes as well is the Seeds of Doom, and I that's another Monster of the Week episode. Stop making everything so abstract and surreal, and there's this Lovecraftian presence behind it, and there's time winds and things around time.
The universe is being threatened and everything. It's going to kill all space and time, and it's just.
And think of you were mentioning the God complex earlier. Like the 11th Doctor era was big for everything had to be part of the fucking arc and all that. Well, like God complex is a standalone episode.
Yeah.
And another great episode, Hyde. Hyde was also a standalone episode. It was just the doctor in a creepy fucking haunted house sorting out why this fucking house is haunted.
Yeah, I know that decent episode.
Yeah, I liked Hyde.
Or what's the one, the Tenant one where they introduced Martha, where it's kind of okay, but where they're in the hospital. Yeah, it's just this hospital on the moon.
Yeah,
the universe is not in danger. It's not like it. Oh.
Yeah, it's just one little hospital. Yeah, not everything has to be the end of the end of reality.
It's like, learn some modesty, writer. You're not here to save the universe. If you are snowbound in an English mansion, and you think that one of the 10 people in there is an alien who's going to kill everybody in the house, that'll do. Hell, I'll watch the fuck out of that. Make it a 2-parter. Make a bunch of people die. Make it creepy. You can do that.
Let's actually get to know these characters, because I don't think we really got to know any of these characters.
No,
at all.
I didn't give a shit about anybody that I saw that was in the one episode that I saw, except for maybe the Clara lady. Like, she seemed kind of nice. Like, there's something there. But the
professor guy was interesting. He was acting more like the doctor than the doctor was at some points.
Yeah,
that's true.
But
that's very true.
The Swarm and his sister Azure,
they were completely wasted. They were completely fucking wasted.
I feel like I've seen some iteration of these characters 3 times before. Some, Hellraiser type character, and I whatever.
I think they just wanted it. I think Chibnall just wanted to use a reason to use the Thanos effect.
Yes.
Fuck that. No.
Yeah.
No,
I think you're right. I think this was. I mean, he was trying to shoot a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And
something I don't know that I even want to point this out to you, because I know you're gonna. You may not have considered this point yet. But the whole resolution where the doctor commits arguably triple genocide against the Daleks and all that shit, and she's blown them all up, and they're hiding behind the Caravista shield or the Lupari shield, and it's the race that's the Lupari, right? Caravista was the
dog. He was the
but the race is the Lupari. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're hiding behind the Lupari shield, and it starts leaking. And I believe it was Dan's girlfriend, I'm blanking on her name again, points out that the poorly named passenger has infinite mass in it, so it can suck up all the antimatter and neutralize it, which is on the surface a fairly rational thought, except the fact that when antimatter and matter collide, there is a massive, massive, massive fucking explosion.
Yes.
But anyway,
and also, I mean, not even the fact that the passenger was full of like all these people to begin with. So it's
it was emptied out at that point.
It was.
Yes, they had emptied it out at that point.
When?
I think it was in that episode, but yeah, it was empty because remember,
I didn't see it happen.
Vinder went in there, and Dan's girlfriend was the only one that was still in there, and they got out.
They didn't take her because she had a gimp arm. I mean, they didn't say that, but they basically heavily implied that.
It wasn't really a gimp arm. It was just like no arm, really.
Right.
But at any rate, the thing I was trying to get to was before the whole triple genocide occurred, assuming if you buy the fact that the whole throwing the passenger in the way of the Flux would solve the problem, the doctor could have fucking done that then. Because she had the passenger. She could have just rode out in front of the three armadas and thrown the fucking passenger out there, and bing, bang, boom, we're done. And, whatever, significantly more of the universe would not be blown up, supposedly, and she wouldn't have committed triple genocide, although maybe she wanted to do that, but that's definitely not in the Doctor's character. But yeah, so that one's a big plot hole for me. It's like, I get it. They do it's again, not an unusual trope for, the human companion comes up with the great idea that fixes everything. But
it wasn't even her companion. It was some side character.
Yeah. And it's so, and the doctor, even in that scene, she's like, well, why didn't I think of that? And, I'm just sitting there watching it. I'm like, why didn't we think of that? Yeah.
Jesus fuck. See, the more you try to convince me this was good, the more I'm convinced this was order shit.
I didn't say it was good. I said I enjoyed it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I enjoyed Jurassic Park 3, but I think I enjoy it because it's kind of good, apart from one or two things. But I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I'm pretty much with you, JB. I just feel like maybe I'm too old for this. Maybe, because they've done studies of old people, and I found this true with my parents, that apparently you get to a point where you are incapable of liking anything different or new from what you usually like. Like, it's just impossible. For instance, I cannot show my parents something that's funny unless or new music. They were specifically talking about music. You're incapable of learning or enjoying new music beyond a certain point. Like, I'm incapable, for instance, of enjoying any music that was made after the year 2000, or maybe 2005 after I stopped, or 2010 after I stopped going to bars so much and dancing. Yeah. Now when I hear music on the radio, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't know who this is.
I don't even listen to the radio.
Yeah, I don't listen to the radio either. Legacy media.
There's something to that, and I think that has to do with at least how JB and I are going into this. And it's beyond, I just want the old ways with Tom Baker, and because fuck, I mean, back in David Tennant, I watched the hell out of those multiple times.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's a matter of different perspective, because well, for one, I probably stopped emotionally maturing somewhere between 12 and 16. So that helps. And then there's I actively am fighting against the dying of the light, because I try not to be. I try to listen to new shit, and I'm much more reticent to enjoy something nowadays. But because I force myself to try, I do actually occasionally come across some shit that I'm like, this is pretty good. I could get into this.
Okay, and I think probably the major difference between me and Sean and you, Chris, is that you actually have children. So a lot of this shit And a lot of the shit that's happened, I mean, the music and the TV and everything for the day, you're exposed to because it's what your kids are into. So you can't help be.
I think that's a very good point.
You can't help but be, have some involvement in it.
Have you ever heard a song called "Backflip" by Rivers Cuomo of Weezer?
No.
Probably at some point, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, if you ever want to torture yourself, give this song a listen. I have heard that song at least 20 times in the past 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
3 or 4 of them back to back. And
okay.
Oh my God, this song is just, my kids absolutely love it. So I endure it for their sake. And the other day we're in the car and like they played it. It rewind. Someone had accidentally put it on loop, and so it played again. And I was like, let's change it. No, let it play. Oh, okay. And like I was faced with the choice of listening to this song 2 or 3 times or having 2 very angry children in my car. And it's a terrible position to be in. So I sucked it up and I let it happen because it made my kids happy. I don't know where I was going with that other than I'm so fucking tired of this song.
Watch me backflip, let me work my magic, let me work my magic. Watch me backflip, let me work my magic. If you only knew how to laugh and dance, whether you're a pancakes or waffles man, we still got a whole lot left to learn. If you only knew, we'll do something new, start a snowball fight in June. If you only knew, watch me backflip, let me work my magic, let me work my magic. Watch me backflip, let me work my magic. If you only knew how the game has changed, you'd think it's kinda nice even when it rains. But take any advice with a grain of salt. If you only knew, we'll do something new, start a snowball fight in June. If you only knew, watch me backflip, let me work my magic, let me work my magic. Watch me backflip, let me work my magic. Lucky. Hey, guitar player, New York's #1 cut creator. Hey, speed skater, check the right, let's put in ad in the papers. Backflip, you know what to do. Ooh, backflip, you know what to do. Ooh, let your freak flag fly. Watch me backflip, let me work my magic.